This is All India Radio. Colors of Life. All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar presents Science Serial Colors of Life episode number 2 entitled Keystone Species. In our last episode, we talked about biodiversity, unique gift of nature. And now, let's listen the second episode of the Science Serial Colors of Life entitled Keystone Species.
Yeah, I like the way you're singing. Listen, the arrangements for our first Diwali in our new home are simply not going according to plan. You know, I'm just so glad Buddy Didi's coming in this evening. I just know that the moment Didi arrives, everything will fall into place.
I agree. She's so good at managing things. She's worth at least 10 of us put together.
Yeah. Anyways, have you seen Ramboj?
Why?
All day today he's been pretending to polish the banisters. You just wait, once he sees Buddy Didi, he will be galvanized into action and the house will sparkle from top to bottom in a matter of hours.
My dear, why blame Rambhoj? Look at our son. For the past 1 week, he has been working on this school engineering project trying to design a bridge. Until today, he has not got even the arch right.
Poor boy.
His keystone is all wrong. And I tried to tell him and he just wouldn't listen. Just wait till Buddy Didi catches him. He will work double fast under her gaze and listen to her every word too, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, come to think of it, Buddy Didi is our keystone too, do you know? In more ways than one. Without her, our family will simply fall apart. Do you know that?
Yes, well said. She is our keystone and our cornerstone too. God bless her.
Well. Oh, what is this keystone business? Bhaiya was also mumbling about a keystone. He was looking upset and angry about it. But you two are laughing about a keystone. What is it? I want to know too.
There you are.
Come, sit down.
Okay.
Come. Your bhaiya is unhappy about a keystone. At least now he realizes where he is going wrong.
Yeah, but you are laughing about it.
No,
That is wrong.
No,
You must not laugh at Bhaiya. He's trying very hard to make the bridge, but his arches are falling down.
Oh, my dear. We are not laughing at your bhaiya.
But I heard you say keystone. That is also what Bhaiya was saying. Keystone. Oh, what is a keystone? Is it a key made of stone? Well, I never knew you could make keys out of stone.
No, beta, no. A keystone is a word that is used to mean that someone or something is very important. You know what I mean? Fundamentally important.
I don't understand actually.
Well, beta, let me explain with an example. Your mother and I were talking about how important her Buddy Didi, your aunt is to us. We spoke about her being our family's keystone, isn't it, dear?
Yeah, okay, I get it. But how come Bhaiya is so upset about his keystone? That is something different, isn't it? Auntie is a person and she is our family's keystone. But what does it have to do with the bridge Bhaiya is designing? The keystone is messing it up for him and obviously it is not auntie.
No, beta, not at all. It is not auntie at all.
Okay. Let me explain. You see, in bridges, there is a wedge-shaped stone to support the top of an arch.
Yes.
And if this is disturbed, the bridge will fall down. And it is very important to place the keystone correctly when designing bridges.
What? The word keystone can be applied to people, buildings, animals and plants as well.
That's right.
It is amazing how much work one word can do. Ah, wow, what a versatile word. I want to know more about it.
Well, what do you want to know more, beta?
I know, Ji, what you're going to say.
I did
Mom
not.
and Dad, please. Let's see. I know how the word applies to people and I know how it can be applied to buildings. But tell me, how is this word used in the context of animals and plants?
Good thinking. That's a great question. But tell me, before I tell you about it, do you know what a community is?
Yes, Mom. We have learned this in school. Human community is a group of people who live together in the neighborhood like we do in our residential complex.
Correct.
In the context of plants and animals, it means a naturally occurring group of different species that share a common environment.
Very
Oh,
good.
you are correct, beta. Very well said.
Thank you.
But there is something that you forgot to say.
Forgot to say something?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Right.
Okay, I know. Community members interact with each other. One community is usually distinct from another community because of these interactions, right?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Very good. You know, dear, kids these days know so much more as compared to you when you were a kid.
That, by the way, is such an unfair comparison. This is because communication channels are so much more these days. TV, radio, internet, they all play such powerful mediums in their own right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So, each is a keystone in communication. But please, let us get back to our topic.
Sure, dear,
Yeah,
sure.
beta. Okay, as we were saying, keystone species in the context of communities means that it has a disproportionately large effect on the communities in which it occurs.
What do you mean? Disproportionately large effect on communities?
I know it's a big word. What I mean is that its influence is much more than what might be expected based simply on its abundance in the community.
Oh, so it is not like just counting the number of individuals, but rather on how much influence the species exerts.
That's right. That's right.
My dear sister, like Badi Masi, who is only one person, but the influence he has on our family and friends, not to mention neighbors and servants, is simply enormous.
Yes.
Not you too.
Brutus, huh?
Yes, sir.
See, it is always easy to understand when you have examples handy.
Hello, son. So, are you through with your project? Is that bridge you were making done?
Yes, Mom, my project is done. It was the keystone placement that was wrong, and thanks to Papa, Dad, your hint really helped.
Well, I was telling you.
Once I corrected the placement of the keystone, my bridge took just minutes to finish.
Glad to have been of help. Sometimes it helps if a fresh pair of eyes looks at the situation.
Yes, Sherlock, yes.
Well, I wonder whose eyes first recognized the keystone species. That person must have been really observant.
Yeah. He was. The credit of coining the term keystone species goes to an American zoologist by the name of Robert T. Payne.
And yes, he gave this idea in 1969.
Correct.
So, according to him, some animals or plants are more important than others, and these are the keystone species.
That is a bit of a generalization, beta, and slightly inaccurate too. You see, the keystone concept is context dependent. The importance of a species in one community may be different from its importance in another community.
True.
But one fact is common in all of this. the disappearance of such species may lead to significant ecosystem change or breakdown in its function, which may have a snowball effect on a much broader scale.
So, what would be the best way to define it?
It would be better if you said that a keystone species is a species that plays an essential role in the structure, functioning, or productivity of an ecosystem.
Oh.
And I feel that he saw that these species as the keystone of the architecture of the web of species in a particular ecological space. And that is why he used this term, keystone species. After all, the keystone in architecture is the supporting element of a larger structure.
Perhaps you're right. It is certainly a logical piece of reasoning. Wow.
Oh, I wonder what animal or plant actually gave him the idea.
I don't know what animal Payne studied, but I do know that the earliest reported example was from temperate intertidal communities on the west coast of North America.
Yes, exactly. And it involved invertebrate animals such as the starfish and
the mussel.
Correct.
Right?
Mussel. Yeah.
And here I was thinking that it would be a huge animal, right?
Yes, son. Actually, you may be right. Large animals are sometimes keystone species too.
Just like the elephant?
Yeah, the elephant is.
Bhaiya, please don't interrupt. We are talking about how scientists reported this for the first time.
Okay.
Well done, daughter. Well done. Well, I was talking about the starfish which preyed on the mussels and kept the population within limits.
And had that not been so, the mussels, which had competitive superiority over the other species in the community, would have dominated the entire community.
However, what really surprised the scientists was that the starfish could not totally eliminate the mussel from the community because it was not able to predate upon the largest mussels.
Right, and to summarize it, this means predation by the starfish on the mussels merely reduced their numbers so that the prey of the mussels could thrive too.
Correct.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. This actually meant that the community could maintain a greater richness of species. It was more complex in structure because the monopoly of mussels was prevented.
Okay, so keystone species exert influence on biodiversity.
Oh, I'm impressed. So you know what biodiversity is.
Well, don't be. It is on TV all the time. Species richness and biodiversity. Everyone knows. But I want to know a little more about keystone species affecting biodiversity. Mummy?
Yeah?
Do animal keystone species act only on other animal species? Or can animal keystone species impact plants too?
That, my dear, is an excellent question.
Thank you.
The impact of animal keystone species is not restricted to only other animals. These can and do impact plants too.
Yes, and the sea otter is a very good example.
Oh, I see. So the keystone species are not restricted to land but can be found in aquatic habitats too.
Yes, they can. The sea otter is a marine mammal that feeds on sea urchins. And sea urchins in turn are herbivores and feed on large marine algae known as kelps.
Oh.
Well, I think I can see where this is going. Please, may I guess?
Sure. Why not?
Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, carry on.
Go on, beta.
Okay, so if the sea otters disappear, there will be no one to keep the sea urchin population in check. The sea urchin population will grow.
No, not just grow. It will explode.
Okay, it will explode and all those new sea urchins will eat up all the kelp, which, by the way, are like huge forests under the waves.
Well done!
Thank you.
What you said is absolutely right, my daughter dear, but not complete.
Oh, I always give incomplete answers, don't I?
No.
So, what did I miss this time?
Not much, beta. Papa was just pulling your leg. Just that in addition to promoting growth of kelp forests, sea otters also influence mussel populations on which they also feed. They remove mussels from rocky seaside areas, liberating space for competitive species. And this leads to increased species diversity in the area.
Okay.
By the way, it may interest you that when the sea otters were nearly wiped out because of trade of their fur in the 18th century, the kelp forests suffered.
But now that the sea otters are making a slow comeback, so are the kelp forests.
Correct.
Yes. And if you want a terrestrial example using a large animal sun, there is the African elephant. It eats a wide range of herbaceous and woody plants, do you know? And in the process, it tramples or knocks down woody plants, often killing them in the process.
But mummy, how does that help?
Beta, by feeding in a manner that is destructive to shrubs and trees, elephants shift the balance of the savanna ecosystem toward a greater dominance of herbaceous species.
Yes.
Is there any example of a terrestrial animal affecting aquatic systems?
Of course, why not? You just ask me, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Well, beta, everything in nature is interconnected.
Right.
You just have to look closely enough.
Yes, Papa's right. The beaver has tremendous influence on its habitat. They create extensive wetlands by damming streams, causing them to flood the low-lying areas. Now, by doing so, they actually create fertile open water wetlands for their own use as well as for many other species that otherwise might not have been able to utilize the local habitats.
And you know, sister dear, species that exert a large impact on their ecosystem by modifying habitat are called ecosystem engineers.
Wow, ecosystem engineer.
Right.
I like the term. The beaver is an ecosystem engineer.
Yes, it is.
Although it never ever needed to make a bridge for a school project.
But it did graduate from the School of Mother Nature.
Oh, wow, very well said, dear.
But I wonder, Mom, if there are many such ecosystem engineers.
You will be surprised at how many there are, son. And some are so insignificant, actually, that you would never have known about the important role they play if you had not taken the trouble to study them individually.
Really? How so?
Let me tell you. See, the crabs found in mangrove ecosystems tunnel into the soft soil and create a complex of interconnected burrows mainly to live in.
Okay.
And now, apart from serving as their shelters, these tunnels also serve as a conduit for water, dissolved nutrients, and for air.
Oh.
Mangrove crabs also drag leaves into their burrows. And the uneaten ones, they get buried in the soil, where they are decomposed by bacteria thereafter.
Right. I see. And this impacts the fertility of the soil in a positive manner.
Yes, it does. And in fact, Papa will agree with this too. The absence of burrowing crabs from the mangrove ecosystem would actually result in nutrient deficiency in mangrove soils.
Yes, I agree. I have to agree. Oh, well, beta. If so, then the mangrove trees would not thrive. The plants would be stunted and populations sparse.
Papa, is there any practical importance behind studying keystone species?
Yes, of course, there is. The concept is important in conservation biology because the loss or even the decline of keystone species has far-reaching consequences for the structure and functioning of their ecosystems. See, for example, let me explain you. If the tiger, a top predator in terrestrial ecosystems, is wiped out, populations of herbivores such as deer will explode.
Right.
And think what will happen to the greenery if the unchecked deer population eats it all up. And then think what will happen to the deer once there is no greenery left.
That's
yes,
right.
I see. But Dad, you did not mention any plant keystone species. Aren't there any?
Of course there are, beta, of course. From rhododendrons in the Sikkim Himalayas to Kalenia tree in the Calakkad rainforest, ecologists have identified a wide variety of keystone species.
Really?
And these keystone species are pillars of their community. The stability of the entire ecosystem depends on these species.
But Papa, how can a tree be a keystone species? After all, it is not a predator to keep down the population of its prey.
My dear child, predation is not the only way to keep a population under control.
A tree provides food, dear.
Food and shelter and safety too.
Yeah, that I know.
Well, beta, the Kalenia tree, for example, is a hotbed of activity when in flower because the sepals of the flowers are edible, although nectar quantity is poor. It is a keystone species for several species of arboreal mammals, including the endangered lion-tailed macaque.
And many insects come to eat its fruit. Birds and reptiles follow and feed on the insects. Monkeys eat insects, leaves and fruit. Tigers sleep below the shade of the trees, perhaps dreaming about catching the animals that ate the insects that ate the fruits.
Oh my God! This is splendid! It's wonderful to see how many different species benefit from this one tree species.
Right.
Yes, it is splendid. But it is unfortunate too. Yeah, it's unfortunate that keystone species are usually noticed when they are removed or they disappear from an ecosystem. And when they disappear from an ecosystem, they result in dramatic changes to the rest of the community.
Right. You know what, Mom? My friend recently visited Mukurthi National Park in the Western Ghats mountain range.
Yes?
He said the park was created to protect its keystone species, the Nilgiri tahar.
That's right. So, it just goes to show, son, how important it is to understand which is the keystone species in the community. And then once you understand this, you should take all possible steps to conserve it.
Right.
Hey! I can hear sound of a car. Looks like Mossy has come.
Oh!
Hooray!
Well, our keystone person is home!
Colors of Life. You were listening to the second episode of the science serial jointly produced by All India Radio and Vigyan Prasar entitled Keystone Species. Script and research was by Dr. Sukanya Datta. Concept was by Shri Anuj Sinha and Dr. T.V. Venkateswaran. The episode was directed by Sudarshan Kumar. Recording and dubbing assistants Chandar Pal Singh. Assisted by Yagyadattu Mishra. And presented by Dr. R.S. Yadav. Participants were Yogendra Tikku, Samir Thukral, Megha and Pia Ahuja. Friends, please stay with us. Don't go. We must tell you about your participation. You can also associate. We will be asking you a question regarding this episode. If you have heard our program carefully, the answer was there in itself. So first, take out your pen and write down the question. Our question is, which creature is called the ecosystem engineer? I repeat the question. Which creature is called the ecosystem engineer? 2 lucky listeners by a lucky draw sending right answers will win attractive gifts presented by Vigyan Prasar. So do write into us. Our postal address is Science Serial, Colors of Life, care of Station Director, Post Box number 71, All India Radio, Sansad Marg, New Delhi 110001. Please do write into us and mail us along with the answers, your full name, address, age and profession. If you're associated with any science club, write down with total membership of your club. If you have any query, question or experience, don't hesitate to write into us. We will try to answer that. Your views on different topics related to science, particularly on biodiversity, That is, plants and animals are most welcome. The best views expressed by listeners will also be given suitable prizes by Vigyan Prasar. We will be here again with you in the next episode of the Science Serial, Colors of Life. Same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye.